Hi, this is Carlos, the OCC, the Obsessive Compulsive Critic, and I want to talk about a show called This Is Us. My good friend and roommate, Julia, just got this from the library today, and we watched it earlier, just the first episode. But I first want to apologize for my long video last time. I'm going to try and keep it shorter this time. Secondly, I want to apologize for the crappy lighting in here. Um, Julia's older daughter is sleeping out in the living room tonight, so I get kicked out of there and into my office. So, onto the story, or onto the show. There are several stories about different families, and it all kind of ties in together at the end. They all kind of connect in a way, which is there's a twist to that, and it's pretty cool. But I don't want to spoil that. Also, well, it's just very touching. I like things that are emotional. And Julia said somebody told her that watching the show will make you cry, and I joked that I won't cry. Um, but we both knew that was that was a lie, and I did a couple times. Um, so this first story is about this couple. She's pregnant with triplets, and he's turning 36. That is a common theme among all of these people at the time they're shown. They're turning, one of them is turning 36, at least one. So they're at the start of a romantic moment. Her water breaks, and so they rush her to the hospital. Interesting note: the doctor who delivers her babies is one of the guys who played on Simon and Simon. And if you know that reference, like me, you're older than 36, and that's okay. So next, this woman is struggling with a weight issue. That's her brother there. She goes to a self-help group, and she meets this guy that's got a great sense of humor, and she likes him. He likes her. She wants to lose weight. He doesn't really want to lose weight, but he likes her too, so he agrees to do that with her, and they have a date. Um, that's it's really nice. I like their relationship. Now, next they show one of these guys. So this guy, her brother, is on a show called Manny, which stands for Male Nanny, and it's kind of corny. It's kind of like a sitcom. And at one point, he's supposed to breastfeed a baby, or try to breastfeed a baby, and he, as a person, knows that this is just ridiculous. So he stops the scene and he talks to the director and he says, "Am I really supposed to think? Does my character really think that he can breastfeed this baby?" And um, the guy's, "Do I have brain damage or something?" And the director says, "Just do the scene." So he's not happy with his life, and he's reflecting on, why he's, or the show that he's doing, and he wants to do something more fulfilling. So he invites Alan Thicke to come on with him, and they do a scene that the writer has written especially for them to try, and it's a really serious scene, and he does a really great job. He pulls it off wonderfully. The audience loves it, and he at the end of it, he's happy. He's praising the writer and the director, and they seem to like it too. And then the director says to him, "Now let's do the lighter version," meaning let's go back to the corny stuff. And take off your shirt, because that's one thing that they always ask him to do, is just to have his shirt off, whether it makes sense or not, because the audience, it's just part of the appeal to the audience, because he's got a nice physique. But he's really unhappy with that response from the director, and he shows it, and the audience doesn't approve of his reaction, and so I won't go into too much more detail about that. I don't want to spoil that either. And then down here, this guy that you can't see very well because of the library stickers, he's looking for his biological father, and he does find him. He's very angry with him. He has a lot of anger issues to deal with. But eventually he invites his dad over. to meet his wife and kids, and there's some poignant moments there too that I won't spoil. But all in all, it's very touching. The music is great. I hadn't heard it before, but it appeals to me on two levels. It's emotional. It goes with the show, and it's new, and I like being exposed to new stuff musically. So, on to the subject of my condition or my disorder. In my version of the disorder, because I can't speak to what anybody else's OCD is like, but I will get so focused on one thing that I miss some very important aspect or details of another thing. For instance, like when I'm studying or writing on the computer, and Julia tells me something like, you've got to pick up the girls at this time, I might make eye contact with her and respond back to her, but then my brain is still over here, and I completely blank on what she just told me. So, but she's learned to deal with that, and she's learned to say now repeat back to me what I said, and so that works pretty well. And she's also learned to be somewhat more understanding of that. This came back to haunt me recently when I had a midterm exam, well, several midterm exams about a week ago, but didn't do so well on one particular exam. There were a lot of multiple choice questions and a lot of written questions, and I've learned to skip to the written questions first because they kind of ramp up your brain, and then you're at a higher level of thinking when you go back to the multiple choice. Well, so I read the instructions on one page that related to these next two pages that had case studies on them. And then I quickly went over to the case studies pages and read those and started to do the writing because I was intent on getting that portion done so I could move on to the rest of the test and finish that. But because I missed one very important instruction on that previous page that was basically justify your answers, I just wrote, for instance, the diagnosis down, but I didn't explain why I came to that conclusion. So I missed a lot of points there. I probably would have guessed anyway, but I think it cost me pretty dearly, and it's a good reminder for me. It's something that I'll probably always have to deal with in life, but I think it's just good to remember to, when I'm focused on one thing, to be aware of the other details surrounding that are peripheral things that might be important as well. And remember to draw my focus away at least long enough to take that in and note what else is important. Okay, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you again.